streams.
Right, and they're dumping it in upstate New York.
Yeah.
They're going from Pennsylvania, all the sites, they're taking the water and they're dumping it illegally in New York. So people think, oh, well, we're in New York, we're frack free,
Yeah,
but that's not true.
No.
And not only that, but what a lot of people don't realize is that the gas that's coming into Manhattan, for example, if you have a gas stove, it's actually, when you turn on your gas stove, you're being exposed to radiation. Because the Marcellus Shale is one of the most highly radioactive, of the shale rock in this country. So, so that's something that people need to understand, that it's sort of like what is happening over here in Pennsylvania and in Texas will impact everybody.
So what would somebody, now if you put yourself, just for the fun of it, on the other side, okay, of this conversation, okay, what would they say? Was the other side would say what? It would say we're going to make a lot of money, everybody's going to make a lot of money.
No,
just
we are going to make a lot of money.
Oh, we're going to, okay. We're the ones that will supply the toilet paper, supply the whatever it is to do this kind of business.
Right.
We'll make a lot of money. But in regard to the energy,
Well, they would also say that
we're getting energy.
Well, getting energy, but they're saying that they're bringing jobs like, for example, in Towanda in Pennsylvania, there's something called a boom season. So when there was the boom season in Towanda, everybody that was in that community was told, well, we're going to have all these jobs. Well, nobody locally got the jobs. The jobs that there were in the gas industry were people that came in from other states. So it was really untrue. And not only that, but then there was a bust. Right after that, then there would be a bust, which would mean that right after the boom, there would be a period of time where there would be no employment. And the restaurants, that had been, the people had come to the restaurants were no longer filled with these workers. So where were the jobs? So that was one of the things that they said.
Somebody on the other side would say that the impact of this industry, of the entire extraction industry, oil and gas industry, is having no effect on our climate. And the little effect that it is happening will be handled by technology that is yet to be invented. And we should just go on doing this, what they're basically saying, you should allow us to make as much profit, just like Wells Fargo and the false accounts. We should be able to make money even if we bend the laws, even if we break the law with impunity, because we are the engines that drive this economy. As Milton Friedman said, have you ever seen a society that is not based on greed? Well, unfortunately, when you have a society based on greed, the greediest, the strongest prevail, the weakest suffer. The people in Dimmock suffer that you never hear about. The people along the lines where the bomb trains run, which explode, they suffer. But now people are, because of the Dakota Access and Keystone, people are beginning to understand that everybody in this country is at risk because of a few people and a few corporations that that put profits before people and have no concern about what happens to humanity and life on this planet in the long run. And in fact, it's not a long run, it's going to be a short run.
Do you believe, I guess, with this type of energy extraction in someone's mind, that it actually affects the seismic, the planet Earth, Mother Earth, that it's affecting the way our Earth will exist?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that to think otherwise, I mean, it's very naive to think that if you're pumping all this water into the ground and you're fracturing, I mean, even the word fracking is there's something violent about that word, right? So you're fracking something, and you're not just doing it in one place. It's multiple places around the planet. It should be something that should be banned worldwide because it is not necessary. We don't need this. And it's not necessary to sacrifice anyone for the good of a few people. Because the other thing is that in the short run, they're going to get rich, but what happens then further down the line? They're going to have to look for the next thing, right? Those people that are getting rich off of this, they're going to have to look for, okay, what's the next thing? Well, the next thing is renewables. But we have it. We have the ability to transition much faster than we're transitioning. And that's the good news. That's the good news part of this, is that the light at the end of the tunnel is that we already have something that is free, the solar energy, right? And that's one part of the whole renewables, package. But I think that that's something that we as citizens all have to become more aware of. Everyone needs to become more aware that this is something that's available. It's not, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that. They just think that, oh, well, that's down, that's going to be in the future.
In your movie, will you talk about renewables? Will you have that in the movie? Will you talk about, solar? Will you talk about, I think the word hydrogen, maybe from the streets that are out there? And someone said to me a long time ago, we have enough energy right in our highways to heat the planet. And will you talk about that, or will you, in the movie, is the script already created and
Yes.
everything done on it? And so what will the movie entail? And you have a, is it a GoFundMe, or is it a?
Well, right now we have, an Indiegogo. We have a
Indiegogo, okay.
Mhm.
So, not GoFundMe, okay, Indiegogo, $19,000 desire to receive to produce the movie. Did I read that correctly?
Well, actually, we have shot part of the film, and we're raising 30,000 more to continue
Okay.
to complete
good.
production.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so we've actually raised our funds mainly through crowdfunding. And the
Right.
reason why we're doing it this way is because there are other projects that have been made through Hollywood, route, the Hollywood route, and through the studio route, that lose the sense of purpose and the sense of, how can I even put this, like just the heart of the story, the integrity of the story, because there are people who are breathing down your neck telling you, don't do this, don't do that. So, and I know Jamie knows this very well, and this is a really good time to be living in, if we want to talk about good news. One of the good things about this period of time that we're living in for filmmakers is that we have the digital revolution. So now you can make a film for much less than what it would cost to shoot on film. My preference would be to shoot on film because light is reflected. It's so much more beautiful to shoot on film. But there's some things you can do digitally as well, with digital cameras that you can still get a good product. But the good news is that we can make this film for much less than if we did it through Hollywood. And we don't have to have somebody telling us, okay, you can't say this. There was a film that was made, and I won't say which film it was, but it was supposed to be about fracking. And because of the money involved, the word fracking is actually used only once in the entire film. So
Is that Matt Damon's film? What is the name of that film? It's strange.
so strange, isn't it? So
Only once.
It's called the Matt Damon film?
But so I'm really, this is a heart project. This is a
That's
passion project that came out of my observations of my fellow citizens, people that were suffering, and I just really feel so strongly that it has to have some kind of integrity. And the beautiful thing about crowdfunding is that people can get involved and be involved. They can actually, in a sense, be part of the fabric.
Yeah, no, it's great.
You know what I mean? So they can be, in a sense,
You
the
have an
producer.
audience to begin with.
And we
you
have the
people to talk about it, to make the movie grow already, because
Exactly.
they're committed and they're part of it. This is beautiful. So,
Yeah.
so what should we tell? Is there anything else we need to tell about where to go, what to do, how to get involved? Do you have a website?
Yes,
you
I
have,
do.
some other things that we want to inform everybody about?
Sure. Well, we're on social.
She's fully prepared.
Okay. See somebody in the background there saying, "How about that? How about that?" Okay.
Yeah, well, we're pretty we're pretty connected on social media. We have a
Okay.
Facebook page, but I have a website too. It's crackineverything.com.
Right.
Not a crack in everything, but crackineverything.com. Actually, let me just mention something about Leonard Cohen, because you're probably familiar with this amazing poet, composer, who's I'm a huge fan of. He
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So his lyrics in his song Anthem, to me, I think really represent this period of time that we're living in. The lyrics go, "There's a crack in everything, but that's how the light gets in."
Right.
That's how the light gets in. So we're faced with this crisis. You know, we are living in a time where we're living with crisis every day. But there's a message here, is that we have an opportunity to come together in ways we never have before. And I think in a sense, there's so much different symbology. For example, solar, the light, that's the light, right? So we have to have a different perspective than I think a lot of people are living in, because I think a lot of people are living in they're living off of this fear, or they're kind of not understanding that you don't have to live in fear. So anyway, so the website is crackingeverything.com. Right now we're actually pointing the website to the Indiegogo campaign, and this Indiegogo campaign runs until February 7th. We'll be doing little bits and pieces to remind people of that, but that's pretty much, that's pretty much it.
Well, congratulations to you all for this. Let me it is by far important, and I don't believe in oil. I don't believe in gas. I don't believe in any of it. So, I think we by far technologically have the opportunity to make big changes in all these renewable energy sources, and that's the good news. And we've done many stories in this regard, and which should give us a lot of hope. And so, and actually, we just put out a newsletter today, or last night and today, that the newsletter says, "This is not fake news. Peace and love will consume 2017." Okay, this is not fake news.
No.
The real news is that peace and love, in our estimation, has always been around us since the cave. There has been maybe a bully or two that scared us, but we had to end up doing whatever that bully wanted. But most of the world, we're very positive on the world, and that one, we're going to be okay, and two, that we have always been okay, and these difficult situations where it's usually people who cannot communicate with you in a respectful way and want to punch you in the nose to make a point, they're few and far between. At least is our philosophy here with our broadcast, and so we try to keep strengthening that message. The shows that are showing people doing good in any situation. There's millions doing good and are doing nothing but not bothering anybody, and so we kind of want to keep focusing on that. So let me ask you two last quick questions, and thank you both for being here. So I ask everybody, what's good news for them in any aspect of your life, personal, professional, whatever. So James, why don't I start with you?
The good news is I went to Standing Rock, which was extraordinary. Not only when you come over the hill and see 500 teepees and yurts and a town of 15,000 people living in tents, but then when you go on into the camp, and it is explained to you that it is a prayer camp. We are there out of reverence for Mother Earth and for the things that sustain life. We're not here to get in anybody's face. We're here to make a testimony. So the revolution, which is coming, begins as Gandhi's revolution began, as Martin Luther King's revolution began, by saying no. This does not go. So I find that very positive, because behind the no, of course, is the yes, that yes, we can. Yes, we can have this world survive. Yes, people can put life above profit. We don't need to stand down to a bully. We can face up to a bully. All we need to do is come together, and that's the revolution.
Beautiful.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with that, and I was incredibly inspired by what was happening in Standing Rock. And it is an extraordinary time, because we have the ability to come together in ways that we haven't before, also because of the internet. there's great power in the internet, there's great power in getting people together in different ways. And in fact, Jamie and I are involved in another project, which is called Xtopia, which is actually going to be an app as well as a Facebook for activists. So we're working on that too. And that's super important because I think that there's so many different groups out there doing great work, but we need to bring them all together in some form. And so
That's where you come in.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying. We have 5,000 shows now. Yeah, alrighty. Well, the other last question actually is another passion of ours, and there are many. Thank God. In fact, they expect 1.6 billion people are aware of this. But the United Nations declared September 21st as the International Day of Peace. And whatever your beliefs are in governmental United Nations and things like that, I don't think is really the important thing here. What's important, we're not an NGO, so we're not connected in any manner. But what we are connected to is world peace. And so for about 15, 16 years now, we've been focused on the International Day as a day, because a lot of times there's so many different kinds of days. So we've decided to work hard on September 21st. And I'm kind of a party guy, and I want to throw a party. So I have something called Peace Day Party. But what we've been doing is a concert in Central Park, and for all these years. And I've created the largest human peace sign in Times Square. And I was able to get UNESCO involved last year, and one of the schools in the city here, their Respect for All program. And we hope that we'll get all the schools this year, and hopefully we're going to get all the schools in the world on September 21st. So we have a day, 12 noon, supposed to be a day, a moment of peace and of silence. So a lot of our efforts in our nonprofit are geared to accomplish this task. And I've asked thousands of people, and I wrote sort of a book, I think, called What Does Peace Mean to You? So I've asked lots of people, what does peace mean to you? So, what does peace mean to you?
peace, I think at this time especially, is really very much about becoming one. I think that unity, once you're unified in a way that we haven't been before, we understand that what's good for one person is good for everyone. It's like we have to, that's the only way that I think that we can come to peace, is that if we think that there's an enemy out there, okay, the enemy is somewhere out there, right? But no, the enemy is inside. So if we can be at peace with ourselves, each person can understand that we have to work on ourselves, and then come together in a unified way, we can achieve peace. I really believe that we can.
Okay. James? Pete, what does peace mean to you?
I'm a big fan and a strong supporter of Russell Brand. You know who Russell Brand is?
I do.
So Russell says...
I would like a lot of his hair, but...
Yeah. Nice. Russell's response is, he gets all the information, he knows the facts, he knows what's wrong, he knows that there's a solution, but the solution doesn't begin with everybody else, it begins here. And you have to act in order, you make a choice. You make a choice to have peace. And then you act on that choice. And the action on that choice is kindness. Totally gratuitous action of kindness towards other people begins to shift. So the idea of paying it forward. Take a moment in your life to do a gratuitous act of action of kindness, and the world shifts, and that is peace.
That's beautiful.
Well stated, beautiful. This is such a wonderful, I have a lot of goosebumps on my body here.
Good sign.
It's good news, bumps. Thank you both very much for sharing, and hopefully we can get this out to as many people in the world as possible. We're all in it together, as we say, and that's and we're all here for each other. So it's all good. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right, thank you. Okay, that's the deal. All right.
Lily, hopefully you had faith in the machine.